So I'm going to talk about publications relatively briefly, and this is both kind of making sure you're aware of the publications that you have access to and receive as a member of the section of dispute resolution, and then how you can be involved or get your committee involved in writing or creating content for the section and the ABA. I'll first talk just really briefly about Dispute Resolution Magazine that, as you know, I'm hoping, comes out 3 times a year. And these days, every member who is based in the US gets a hard copy. Every member who is not a law student who is based in the US gets a hard copy of the magazine, and everyone gets a digital issue of the magazine. And then also all members can always access past issues from the website. So you can get to the 25 years of issues of Dispute Resolution Magazine. We are actually closing in on producing our 100th issue of the magazine. And we also, of course, have some author guidelines for Dispute Resolution Magazine. So if you are considering submitting an article to Dispute Resolution Magazine, this is the description of the submission process. I actually serve as the editor of the magazine. So I am the point of contact here, but also know that the editorial board of the magazine, they make all decisions about the content that goes within the magazine. So I essentially forward ideas on to the editorial board, and they take a look at things of what are the hot topics and what content do they want to pull together into an issue for the upcoming years. And you are welcome to send an idea. It can be a sentence or a few about an idea you have, or a draft, and they are happy to look at all of that. And we do a great deal of editorial work on all articles that go into Dispute Resolution Magazine. So it's usually about a 3 to 6 month minimum time frame from concept to publication. Okay.
Gina, this is Anish. Just a quick question on the Dispute Resolution Magazine in terms of the ABA portal that you just showed. Is there an option when we can access or seeking to access past issues? Can we do a indexed search in the sense, let's say if I'm curious to know about a topic, an X or Y subject matter, and I want to see if there's an article being written in the Dispute Resolution Magazine in the past, in any one of the past issues, is there some option that I can type into a search bar, okay, search for these particular types of articles, and they'll all populate in front of me, and then I go to that particular issue, as opposed to me looking at the last 25 years issue one by one to find what I'm looking for?
Short answer is no. The ABA site is supposed to be more easily searchable these days. So if you were to type in, arbitrator, social media disclosure, say, you might pull up a couple of or one Dispute Resolution Magazine article. I maintain an index, but it is not current, and it is a manual process. So on that, I would, the way to get to yes on that one is to contact me and let me know what it is you're looking for, and I can do a quick search. I've served as the editor for the past, doing math, maybe 7 years or so. So my memory banks can somewhat provide that index, but I certainly don't keep it all in my brain. So feel free to contact me and I'll try to figure out what I can.
Sure, thanks.
This is Rebecca Ratliff. Please tell me your name, Madam Editor.
Sorry, this voice that just keeps talking and does not stop. I'm Gina Brown. I am the Associate Director of the Section of Dispute Resolution, and I also serve as the editor of Dispute Resolution Magazine.
Awesome. Thank you, Gina.
You are welcome. Gina.brown@americanbar.org.
Say that again.
Oh, sorry. Gina, Gina. .brown, BROWN, at americanbar.org.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So our other publication that we put out regularly is the monthly Just Resolutions newsletter, and this is an all digital publication that goes to all members of the Section of Dispute Resolution. And if you do not recall ever receiving Just Resolutions newsletter, then you should check your ABA member profile for your communications preferences. And we covered that in one of our modules last week that we will be posting and is available for recording. And also anyone on staff is happy to talk you through that, because we really want to make sure that you are receiving your member benefits and know what is going on within the section. So I'm just gonna, this is just a glance at the Just Resolutions newsletter online and how you can get to the landing page and then go back to all of our years of Just Resolutions online that go back to 2009. And so that's a lot of issues, because we generally put out about 10 issues per year. We have article submission guidelines for Just Resolutions e-newsletter here. So anyone can submit an article for publication in the newsletter. However, you all as committee chairs, for the most part, control the content of what goes into Just Resolutions newsletters. Most newsletters are managed by a committee. So for instance, I'm going to click on our committee newsletter commitment schedule that we actually just made available new today for you guys on this call, where Zina Hamadeh on our staff works with committees to have them scheduled for an upcoming newsletter. So the one that is coming out next week is the Ombuds Committee, and they provided I think it's about 3 articles that are in this issue of the newsletter. And that's about the ideal amount of content for a newsletter, because these are digital. We don't want to overwhelm people with a lot of content. We know that if we went up to 6 to 10 articles, that folks don't get through it. Our digital readership statistics back us up on that. So we have a couple of upcoming months that are not yet committed, December and January and February. And we don't usually do an issue in April because the staff is overwhelmed with the spring conference, and we don't do an issue in August because we are tired at that point. And also simply because we have historically just not found committees willing to do the content in that month. Everyone is trying to enjoy summer at that point of time. And when your committee decides to do a newsletter, we have our committee newsletter guidelines that kind of talks you through generally the sort of content that we've seen work really well within the Just Resolutions newsletter, the kind of format that we want to see it in, and we'll be slightly sticklers on this. We really do want it as a Word document. We want it in Times New Roman. You know, this is all details. And in particular, we want the content a month ahead of the time that we publish, and that gives us a little bit of time to look at it on the editorial side. The newsletter articles get much, much lighter editing than the magazine articles, but we still do review them, make sure they follow all of our ABA policy and all of that good stuff. So we want a little bit of time to work with the committee editors and the authors as needed on the content. And
Gina, this is Anish here. Just a quick question. I haven't seen this document in entirety, but would you need it proofread in American English or British English?
American English.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think this document also links to our, our dispute resolution magazine editorial guidelines, that if you really, really want to get to the nitty gritty of whether we use the Oxford comma and the 2 spaces between sentences, 1 space is what I actually live by, 1 space, you can get to that as well. And that's stuff that we will impose it when we do our editorial review, but we appreciate them having been looked at by the committee editorial guides before we get to that point. One other thing I just want to point out within the newsletter is that even if you're not in charge of content for a particular month, but if you want to include a committee event or something within the next issue of the newsletter, we welcome listing of events. And so I've got here just the quick format that you need to shoot it to us, the basic stuff, so that we can include it in upcoming events. And we love to do that so that we just get more stuff out to members. Okay. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about ABA publications, by which I mostly mean books. And Laura Stepanovich, who at least has been on this webinar today, is our relatively new chair of our ABA section of Dispute Resolution Publications Board. And as you may or may not know, as members of the ABA, we have a very robust publications program. And I'm actually going to pull up the publications ad that is in the current issue of Dispute Resolution magazine. We have a brand new book, Negotiation Essentials for Lawyers, that Andrea Schneider and Chris Honeyman have pulled together. That is a heck of a lot of fun. And then we have a whole lot on what's called our backlist as well. So terrific books that we have published in the last, some of these are maybe 10 years old, but continue selling really well. We find that our dispute resolution books hold up very well over time. And so we welcome you checking all of this out and recommending things that are relevant to your committee members, or if you're looking for content to discuss on a committee phone call, reach out to some of our book authors to see if they would want to come and talk with your committee for a few minutes on an upcoming webinar or call. I'm not going to take you to Shop ABA, but shopaba.org is where you can go to look for all of the ABA books. And the ABA as a whole has a huge publications program, and you can go there and you can look for dispute resolution books, and you can look for anything else. And now if you're sitting here thinking that you have a book in you, that you have a book idea, we have a book proposal form that you can fill out and submit your book idea to us at the ABA. You should feel free to contact me. Contact Laura Stepanovich, who is on this webinar.
I am still on the call.
All right, Laura, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add in here about the publications program.
No, I am actually so new that I am learning as well. So I am currently crawling and hope to walk shortly, but so far I've been extremely impressed with what the board has accomplished in the last few years, and I look forward to getting up to my elbows in it.
Well, terrific. We look forward to having you there on it. So I'll again do a pause if there are any questions on magazine, newsletter, books program from the crowd here.